Okay, so this video is about key points, core points. You can't take anyone seriously who avoids my key points, my core points. You simply can't. They misrepresent my argument. They avoid the argument. They create straw men. You may as well be crazy, homeless in a cardboard box, mumbling to yourself. You may as well be a coward fuming me while I'm trying to talk. We can't take you seriously. You're not a man. You can't take anyone seriously who avoids my key points. Period. One of my key points is that I'm the top martial artist. Okay? The people who avoid this have an inflated sense of self-worth. They have false pride. They have delusions of grandeur, but it's not necessarily a mental illness. They're in denial. They're too proud of their group or their race. Who is this guy? He's the son of 2 doctors, 1 a brain surgeon, from a martial art royal line. Okay? He cuts into people's heads for a living. He's 6'5", 230 pounds or something. Big arms, surgical strikes, intensity. Okay? He is like a genius version of Mr. T, who could outmaneuver him and cut him open if he put his mind to doing martial arts instead of brain surgery. It is apparent that this guy is serious about his challenge. It is alpha apparent. And anyone who's serious about representing their system can't let this challenge go unnoticed and unchecked by their group. And they haven't. That is the nature of martial arts. They talk about things. Like Joe Rogan in the UFC talking about traditional martial artists. They get the word out. Okay? Apparent. Alpha apparent. It is apparent. Okay? We also have comparison. Compare I son. Who is this guy? Well, for 10 years, I've been making videos about politics where I have the moral high ground and I've been mentally sparring with people while putting out a sparring challenge. Now we have to consider caliber and league. Would you take the Boy Scouts seriously if they rounded up a bunch of 12-year-olds who were marksmen to take on the Navy SEALs? If they started saying, hey, those guys aren't the best at warfare, we are. We challenge them to a fight. No, this guy is the Navy SEAL, is the Michael Jordan of martial arts. Okay? Period. It's where it comes from. Okay? He's from the most physically prowess having people, the people known as Soul Brothers. He's from a royal family of these people in the heart of Africa who make up a majority of the DNA of African Americans. Okay? These are the guys that told all the ancestors of the African Americans what to do. That's his line. These are the martial art guy line that made them fall in line. You, and you. Kimbo Slice, Debo from Friday, Mr. fucking T, fall in line. That's who he is. It is apparent that his challenge is serious and everyone else is like Jiminy Cricket or a slow fucking slug compared to him. It is open and shut. It is disassociating with reality to pretend that's not the case. It's no harder to believe than his dad is a brain surgeon. You're an idiot if you don't see it for that way. You're sick in the head. And so it is with the African religion. Why don't you accept that martial artists are the most spiritually intense and the most in touch with the spiritual world? Because you have false pride. You have delusions of grandeur. You're selfish. You're saying, my race, my race. You're like a Eurocentric. You're like someone who practices cultural appropriation, who doesn't want people to connect to their cultural memory. This guy's biracial. He's from the source of all humanity. When the smoke cleared, he's the top martial artist. Nobody else is. And he comes from a long line of people who can say the same thing. Think about it. We have the leopard's tail and the Narmer pallets. On the back of the Narmer pallet, there's these people separating these 2 leopards that are obviously trying to mate. And they're the followers of Set. They have a curving leopard tail, as does the leopard's tail in the picture that I'm going to post either in this video at the end or in another video. Okay? It's a curving leopard tail in this exact same way. It's very solid proof when we couple that with the research of professors and martial artists and so on alike that shows that there's leopard societies in Africa. It goes so deep, there's even leopard men in the Tarzan cartoon that are black. It's well known. the leopard, the cat of Heliopolis, Horus, son of the leopard, these sub-Saharan people that went up to Nechin. Okay? It is apparent. It is a comparison. Okay? We can compare. This guy, for many years, he's walking a higher path. He's training outdoors. These guys are training for sports, for sparring, indoors, doing fancy kicks that don't have the same efficacy outdoors. This guy can outmaneuver them, and he can strike them down. You know, they do a fancy block, stab. They can grab him out of the air, smash him on the ground, and kill him. Okay, but he doesn't need to do that, and that's not even part of sparring, but you get my point. He outmaneuvers, boom. He has world record speed. He has surgical precision. They're no match for him. They're not in his league. He is like the main all-star basketball player. They are like fucking junior high school basketball players who aren't even training on the right terrain with the right hoops for the challenge. This is actual spiritual power. Spirit. They have no viable counter-argument. They oversimplify. They hide behind sabotage and drugging, which brings more credence to my point and not less. This is a smoking gun argument. The religion from Africa and the martial arts is a smoking gun. Okay, this guy has a smoking gun in his hand. It's up to you to prove that he's not the shooter. Okay, the logical assumption the logical mind defaults with, this is the way to serve God. This is the most spiritual man. This is the top martial artist. He's proven that. He's by far made it a smoking gun. He has smoking gun arguments. And countless supporting evidence. Just the evidence I presented in this video alone is a smoking gun. Much less the abundance of evidence I presented in my Key Reason I'm the Top Martial Artist playlist. Many people have commented. People showed up. Flawless victories against them. 19 witnesses to the sabotage against me. These are smoking gun arguments. He's being gang-stalked, cyberbullying, clan activity, COINTELPRO, all this history of harassing black people, mixed with 19 witnesses, smoking fucking gun. Prove otherwise. You can't. Top Martial Arts Challenge, raised to $100,000, $50 just to show whether you can lose and still get paid $50 in a few minutes. Smoking gun. In California, the most populated state in one of the most populated countries in the world, this is the testing ground for martial artists. Smoking gun argument. It's where Bruce Lee was. Smoking gun argument. It's up to you to prove otherwise. So mental health can't say he has the delusions of grandeur. That's like saying King Kong has delusions of grandeur when he says this is the strongest monkey around. These are smoking gun arguments. Anyone who refuses them is disassociating from society and has delusions of grandeur, an inflated sense of self-worth, and false pride. They can't get over their race and their self and their political group. They're social norm fanatics. They're propaganda pushing fanatics. They refuse to live in reality. Now, I apologize if this hurts your ego and your inflated sense of self-worth and your sick satanic racial agendas and your corporate pedo cult affiliations, but this is the truth. And you are sick if you don't accept it. Society is sick for torturing and abusing me and covertly drugging me and trying to force me on psych meds, instead of accepting that I'm the top martial artist so we can start addressing the problems in society. Like grown adults. Stop acting like little kids, abusing little kids in corporate clubs and sex cults. My goodness.